I do apologize. You guys just started hearing me. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I guess I'll cut this out. And I am responding to a video Pedro DoorDash Santiago did, regardless a right share strike or gig economy strike. I am familiar with the right share professor since 2018. And just my question to right share professor, if you watch this, hey, did that app from California launched? From Canada launched? Why are you still complaining with Uber? But that's about as far I'll go there. Now, here's a question. First of all, this video is about why the strike will fail. My first question: how can you strike on a contract that you agreed on to? That's my question number one. So, second question: when you start seeing on Lyft 4 times the money, 5 times the money, 6 times the money, where will you draw the line and say, you know what, I'm going out to drive? That is, if you successfully reduce the amount of drivers on the road to 1%, you're not going to be able to reduce it to 1%. But even if you did, when are those drivers going to say, you know what, I'm going out? It is 10x. Or it's boost 0.3, or it's, what is it, 3 boost 3 or boost 5, whatever the Uber does it. Where's that line? The drivers will go out and say, you know what, forget about the strike, I'm out driving. I made $300 on one ride. That's how these strikes always end. Uber and Lyft raise the price, and drivers turn on the app and get back at it. That's on the top of everything else that Pedro DoorDash Sandia already said, that those cannot afford to pay $300 ride share, they will get behind the wheel, and you, whoever started it, will be responsible and will be held in court in contempt to murder. Because that's how it ends. Because you started and you become responsible for all those drunk drivers out there that end up driving because they couldn't get a reasonable and fair fare to get a ride. If you haven't got sued yet, you're lucky. But let's see how this time it's going to turn out. Now, you want to be successful at these strikes? You prep. First, you get drivers on board. And when you get enough of drivers on board, and you still want to strike, and they support you, and the percentage of that is at least 30, if not more percent, and you set 2 days for a strike, and those days have to be at least apart about 2 weeks, and then one strike goes against Lyft, another strike goes against Uber, or you can place them, one against Uber, the second one against Lyft, however you decide to do it. Then you take a month and those drivers go out and they say, hey, we're going to have a strike on this day with Uber. So I recommend you on this day, download the Lyft app and request a ride on Lyft. By doing so, you're transferring clients to their competitor. Guess what? Now, Uber won't like that. When they're going to start seeing those videos, when they're going to see that you are organized and you are prepared and you're doing it right, and you're moving clients from one app to another app, they get pissed. And they have no choice but to come to your negotiating table. Let's say they don't. And you proceed with a strike, and clients switch over to another app. Clients, because you're not striking against clients, you're striking against corporate. And you're trying to hurt corporate by moving clients into one direction. Now, you also let the customers know that if we won't get both of these to come to the table, there will be a second following strike where we will do the same thing with Lyft. And on this particular day, we'll need you guys to ride on Uber only that day. So now you're sending a message both directions. And you're saying, Uber, we have no problem moving clients to Lyft. We demand a fair price. We have no problem moving clients from Lyft to Uber Lyft. So both of you guys come to the table, or next time we'll come up with something more serious. Now, you guys want it? If that fail, let's talk and come up with something more serious. But I'm pretty sure if you can get at least 50% of the clients shift on a certain day from one app to another, you will get their attention. But nobody is going to hurt other than corporate. But if you want to actually take this strike on a holiday and do not provide a solution to the customers, you're taking on a huge responsibility. You might as well launch an app and drive for that on that app on that holiday, and hopefully all those customers find out about that app on time, so you can provide a solution. And the final thing, guys, in 2018, I did launch an app, Yay Driver. Unfortunately, only few found out about it. And those that found out about it, they complained, they want insurance, they refuse to go and get their own commercial insurance. My fee was 10% of the fare until you reach $100 a month. That's the maximum the app would charge. Not sure with some of the fees I would actually be able to cover, since we did not be able to go on a large scale. We did only few rides and bunch of test rides. Unfortunately, I have the app. I do not have the whole production. I have the website, but everything is out of date by now. But I'm pretty sure we can go back to the developers, take what we have, and hopefully with, probably 5-10 grand, and maybe get this app resurrected. But I'm not paying for it. You guys want to pay for it? You guys are welcome to. And whoever wants to run with it, I'll actually sign it over to. If you guys want to give me some money and cover my expenses, because that app costed me over $30,000 with marketing and everything at that time. But I think there might be a point at this time to do something about it. If those two giants refusing to talk to you guys, make a third giant. Take control in your hands, which I believe there's 3 giants. You guys are just not talking about I believe the Curb is the third, which is a taxi app. So there's actually 3 giants. So if Curb doesn't satisfy you outside of Uber and Lyft, and Curb, I believe it's Curb, you guys are not willing to actually go get your commercial license and all that stuff and pay whatever the fees are, then maybe launch a fourth one. Go into competition. And if you guys need help to launch it, I have no problem as long as I get paid because I'm tired of not getting paid for stuff that I do. So, guys, be blessed. Those of you that still have questions about strike, they always failed. I seen them in 2018 how they were failing, and the reasons they were failing is because that's why they build these boost, this stuff like DoorDash, Peak Pay. That's why all those things are built. Those are the safety nets against strikes. That's why they were built in those apps. So when people start striking, the price inflates, and eventually all those strikers they're back on the road helping out because right now the price is at a point where it's no longer worth striking. And those that continue to strike, they just missed out two, three, four, five, six times the money. That's just how it is. See, we are humans. And unless we become machines, it's impossible to strike with these companies. But shifting customers from one side to another side, that can catch their attention. Because now you created a record low day when they were suspecting a record high day. And then that other company, they'll try to figure out what happened that on that particular day they peaked out and they had a record high day from the launch of the app. So now you got both sides' attention. That is the only type of a strike that might have a success if customers, if you can convince the customers to switch on that day, and they will do it. That means they will support you. In 2018, when I was driving and investigating, majority customers were willing to do it as long as it wouldn't impact their price in the future. So if you guys can present it in a way where customers will understand it's not going to impact their wallet, they'll support you and they will switch. But as soon as they get a hint of that you're striking not with corporate, you're also striking with against them because at the end of the day they will actually have to pay more. At that point, no strike will become successful because customers will not go to switch. Um, they'll take that day off or whatever it is. That's why you pick the holiday and kind of force them to switch. Because when you have a bunch of drivers on Lyft and not enough of drivers on Uber, now because everybody turned off an Uber and then turned on Lyft, customers are seeing that prices are cheap on Lyft and expensive on Uber, and guess what? They'll start switching on their own. Unless somebody with a YouTube channel decides to convince them not to do it because right now they're trying to strike against us. So this is a gamble, but at least that gamble is more realistic than just turning an app off. We done it in 18, I believe, twice during the time of me driving. Back then, I did not need it to drive for a living. I was receiving income from the company I was CEO of. But thanks to, I forgot what his name, from California that called me up, he had, at that time, he was heavily talking about Uber and Lyft, how they're taking advantage of the drivers. Um, I actually looked into it. I actually, even at that point, even went out, spend my own money, not the company's money, my own money, to build an app, launched it. Do you guys know that taxi drivers in Dallas or Houston, were the only ones that actually were interested in the app? They had their commercial license, they had everything they needed. They were interested in the app. Regular drivers were not. That's why I'm hesitating to launching a food delivery app, because I know when I'm going to lunch and when drivers will need to get certain type of insurance, possibly. They will not. So guys, be blessed. You guys can find my contact information in about section of my channel. Be blessed, but remember, stuff that hasn't worked in the past, how can it work in the future or even at the present time? Take care.